Hi, this is Laura, and I'm at a coffee shop, and I just thought I would take a second just to talk about Matt and I and our desire to be the guy in the orange shirt. And that comes from years of doing 30-hour famine with World Vision, and we would always see these pamphlets of these guys in the orange shirt, and they were handing out water bottles to tsunami victims, and they were scooping out rice to lines of hungry people, and we always wanted to be those people. You know, we heard to be the hands and feet of Jesus, really wanted to go into the poorest parts of the world and do that and rescue the girl that was being trafficked and pick up the orphan that was on the street and hold the hand of the mother that had AIDS. And I think one of the things that we're learning here as we've been in Asia is that a lot of times we as Westerners are not naturally equipped to be the guys in the orange shirt. And it's quite humbling because our desire is for is to see change. Our desire sometimes is for the dramatic. Our desire is to do something that feels good. And I think what we're learning here that the skills we naturally bring to the table are our computer skills and our networking skills and our leadership and our education and our money and our fundraising abilities. And those tasks and those skills are not nearly as exciting and they're not nearly as dramatic as being the guy in the orange shirt handing out the rice. It doesn't feel as good to sit and build a website at the computer. It doesn't feel as dramatic to hammer out a bunch of emails and to have that be how you are loving the orphan or rescuing children. And yet the reality is that a lot of times that's what we bring to the table as Westerners. And it's pretty maybe arrogant in a lot of ways for the Western world to come in and assume that we're going to get to be the people in the orange shirt all the time instead of empowering the local church to be that. Because when we swarm in with all of our money and all of our ideas, a lot of times we can rob nationals of being the people in the orange shirt to the people within their own country. And that has a lot of value and a lot of more long-lasting sustainability than the Western faces coming in and doing something to maybe essentially feel good about themselves in some ways. At least I know that's what I've done. You know, as we've come, I think Matt and I both have seen that in some ways we've had this savior complex. We've really wanted to swoop down and rescue and save the day. And I just wonder how much of that is pretty naive and pretty selfish in us. It's like we're serving so that we can get a prize. And then when the reality comes of, oh, well, you really serve by sitting at a computer or raising money or giving money sacrificially, that doesn't feel as dramatic. It doesn't feel as noble. And so a lot of times we scoff at that or we don't want to do that. And I think that's the moment when our true hearts come into play. That's the moment when our true attitudes really are revealed. When we say, no, we want to be the guy in the orange shirt, and we don't care if it's good for the culture, and we don't care if it's a good use of God's money. We want to be the guy in the orange shirt, so we're going to blaze forward and do it. And that attitude, I think, can be pretty hurtful to the culture, and I know that we have really done that, and I think that's something that we're really wrestling with right now. And so yeah, just some other thoughts about just what it means to live overseas and what realistically the role of a Westerner should be in a foreign country in regards to humanitarian aid. And a lot of times I think it looks different and it looks not as dramatic, and it does look like more of a support and a training role than a going in and actually being the one to sort of do battle and be on the front lines. And it's just sort of a shift in perspective, a shift in role. But an important thing to consider, I think a lot of times Americans or Westerners, we assume a lot, and a lot of times those assumptions can get us into trouble. I know that happens to us a lot. So anyway, just some thoughts. Thanks for listening. Hope you're having a great day. Bye.